family home, so just want everybody to keep that in mind. Now, I tried to have some special stuff for you guys tonight. In other words, some special effects, and I wanted to play a song before the webinar started, and I just wasn't able to get that worked out for you, and this slide actually reminds me of the song, and I want to give you guys a homework assignment right here off the bat. So as soon as this webinar is over, I would like you guys to go to YouTube and not Google, but go to YouTube and pick the song Chain by Zach Williams. And the version that I want you to watch on YouTube is the version that actually has the lyrics, because it's just so very, very powerful. I would imagine each and every one of you on the webinar tonight, you have some chains, you have some things that are holding you back, and we need to be able to break those chains. And you know, being in this business, it's truly, truly about having the ability to break free from some of the old programming, some of the excuses that we made, some of the things that have been holding you back in the past, and actually making that breakthrough and getting that first deal done, that second deal done, that third deal done, so that you guys can move on and have the lives that you want to have. So,
Greg, would you repeat the name of the song and the artist?
Yes, I will. So the name of the song is Chain. So if you go to YouTube and just you search, if you'll type in Chain, Zach Williams, the song's going to come up. There'll be a couple of choices, and you want to pick the one that shows the lyrics. Because while you're listening to the words, there's some really, really powerful visuals with chains and the words, and being able to watch the words as they're being sung. I think it'll just, it gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it. I think a lot of you will appreciate it. Now, I just want to say something that's actually quite amazing. And you know, we've been averaging between 40 and 50 people on the webinar, and we've been growing the webinar. I know that we had a major glitch last night, and we rescheduled for tonight. Guys, we have 34 people on the webinar tonight, and I just want to tell you how much that means to me, because you guys are loyal, and we really, really care about your success. I've had so many consultations with so many of you, and such kind words that you guys have shared with us as a family. And I just can't even begin to tell you guys how much that means to us as a family. So you do have the entire team on the line tonight. You've got Tony Freeman on the line. You've got my fiance Alicia on the line. My son Greg Jr. is on the line. You've got Rhonda, who's one of our mentors. Very, very instrumental with the consulting program. Just so know that, you know, the team that's going to lead you, we're all here together for you tonight. Now, the first thing I want to do real quick is just make some announcements. Those that are in the consulting program right now, those of you that are new and in the consulting program, I just want to make a shout out to Anna from Texas, Hank from Washington, Juan from Denver, Rusty from Ohio, Benita all the way from Ohio, Ricardo from Florida, Robson from Massachusetts, and Melanie from Denver.
Hey, Benita, he meant Benita from Hawaii.
Yeah, all the way from Hawaii. The clean across the other side of the United States of America. But that's going to be a fun one. I'm excited about that. Real quick, just want to let you guys know that we've raised over $2 million in capital at 0% interest for our students. So again, at the end of the webinar, I will share with you, if you haven't applied and you choose to, please do. I just want to let you know, even if you don't think you qualify for the 0%, please go through the process. If you send your reports to us, I'll sit down, I'll look at them, I'll analyze them. I can help you, guide you guys, and other funding resources. And I can also talk to you about things that you guys need to do to get those credit scores up, because the higher our scores, the more money that we'll have available to us to go out and do our investments. So let's get started tonight. And before I dive right into mobile homes and the specific topic, I want to talk to you guys about the cash flow pyramid. And as we've been working with some students and starting the consulting, you know, one of the things that we talk to you guys about is you've got to be coachable. And I know everybody thinks that cash flow is king. Cash flow is no longer king. I mean, everybody thinks cash is king. Cash is no longer king. Cash flow is king. And I know in this business, what our ultimate goal is to have large amounts of passive income that come in every single month to give us the freedom to do with our time what we want to do with our time. And in order to move to passive income, if you're looking at the pyramid here, the cash flow pyramid, at the very top of the pyramid, it talks about earned income. Now, earned income could be your job. You're trading time for money. Earned income could be a job that you own. You're self-employed. You're still trading time for money. And a lot of times students get hung up on the fact that they just want to jump straight to passive income. Well, what you first must learn how to do, if you want freedom, if you want your minds to be free, if you want that conversation in your brain right now to change, which for most of you that conversation is, I owe, it's off to work I go because you got to pay your bills. If you want that conversation to change and you want to move from the left side to the right side, you have got to learn how to replace your current level of earned income. So when we're talking with students in that initial consultation and talking to them about the first deals that they need to be doing, you don't need to go out and tackle a duplex. You don't need to go out and tackle a fourplex. You don't need to go out and tackle an apartment building. Now, if one comes your way and it's a great deal and we could get it with seller financing and I could assist you through that process, of course we're going to do that deal, and that's not what I want your focus to be. Guys, for those of you that haven't done a deal yet or you're struggling to get the next ones done, we got to focus on something simple. You know, let's get an assignment, a contract done. Let's build our investor database. And let's maybe go out and do a basic mobile home. Either I get that mobile home under contract and assign it, I get that mobile home, I buy it, I fix it, I flip it, or I get the mobile home, sell it with a lease option, sell it with seller financing. And if I can get the mobile home with seller financing, not using any of my money or any of my credit, what a wonderful place for you guys to start. The key to being successful in this business is mastering the earned income strategies first, and the strategies that don't use your money or your credit. Your goal is to build stacks of cash. I know I teach this in my 3-day event, and if you haven't been to one of my 3-day events, those opportunities will come. But you got to build stacks of cash, guys. And what do you do with your stacks of cash? Everybody always says, oh, I want to reinvest my stacks of cash. I want you to do that as well. And I also want you to be safe. You need to take your stacks of cash from real estate investing, and you want to pay off any of your bad debts. There's bad debt in this world. There's good debt in this world. We pay off that consumer debt. We pay off bad debt. Now, once all of your bad debts are paid off, and you're no longer driving to work every day because it's I owe, it's off to work I go. Guys, that mind becomes free. Then we can move to those passive income strategies that will give you long-term wealth for life. I mean, I don't know how many times I've taught a 3-day event, and I have people in my classroom that are house rich and cash poor. They got 5 or 6 rental properties. They may have a duplex, a small apartment building, and they're still broke. So for everybody on the call, my consulting students, guys, when we work with you, you got to start simple, and then we can grow this thing big. And I don't want you guys to let your excitement outrun your education. Let's get focused on some of the basic stuff. Let's get a couple of deals under our belt, and then it's going to be so much easier to run after the bigger deals. And I know as I say that to you guys, it resonates with you and it makes sense. And it's just so important that you do this in the proper steps if you want this to be for the long run. I don't want you to just go out there and do 1 or 2 deals and be done. You need to be focused on 3 mobile homes a month and 1 deal a month other than that, no matter what it is. Now, it's going to take some time for you guys to get there, and we will get there. So
Greg,
I hope that gave you
I want to add
Yes,
one
Mom.
thing here. There's going to be fear and overwhelm in anything new that you do. And as soon as we get the first smallest deal done, it's like when you're learning to ride a bicycle and your parents hang on to the bicycle seat. As soon as we first get the simple thing done, you'll be over the overwhelm completely because you'll be in such excitement that you'll take on any deal that's out there. So I just kind of wanted to say, if you're feeling any kind of fear or overwhelm, and some of you won't be, but some of you will, the sooner we get you to a completed start to finish deal, the faster your excitement's going to catch on fire.
I couldn't agree more, guys. I couldn't agree more. And I know I've got experienced investors on here. We want you guys to know that even with this most basic mobile home strategy that we're doing, guys, I can turn this into an advanced strategy. I can teach how to get these mobile homes for free. I can teach how to buy them with seller financing, create notes and sell the notes, and not even have to do the work, the busy work. And in the beginning, we got to do the busy work. So please understand, no matter what your level is, there's going to be some really, really powerful stuff on the webinar tonight. And before I leave the pyramid, you want to master those earned income strategies first. You want to build stacks of cash, pay off your bad debts. We move to passive income strategies that give us long-term wealth for life. Now, everything in your passive income pipeline, everything in that part of your pyramid becomes a part of your portfolio. These are your buy and hold properties. And as I've told you on multiple occasions, I don't care what real estate cycle we're in. I don't care if real estate's going up. Don't care if it's going sideways. Don't care if it's going down in value. I don't care at all. We can make money in every single cycle. You must know what cycle you're in today. You got to know what that's going to create in the future, and you got to be ready to make the shift when cycles shift. And guys, I'll tell you the cycle of the future. It's apartment building, it's mobile home parks, it's RV parks, it's adult living facilities. Yeah, those are advanced strategies. So let's get working on the simpler strategies now so that 2 to 3 years from today, you're ready to move on to those advanced strategies. And I don't want you to be that one that wakes up 6 months, a year, 2 years from now and says, I could have, I should have, only if I would have. So I hope that gives you guys some insight. Keep this cash flow period in mind, and let's get to rocking and rolling tonight. So let's see. What we're specifically going to talk about tonight are individual mobile homes in a mobile home park. You're not going to own the entire park. Ultimately, someday we'd love to. You are going to look for individual mobile homes in a mobile home park where you won't own the land that the mobile home's on. You're just going to own the mobile home. Now, as I'm going through this series tonight, if you have questions, you can type them in the chat bar, and then at the end of the webinar, Mom will ask those questions. I'll answer them. She'll answer them. You'll have great feedback. We are looking for mobile homes and mobile home parks that are for sale by owner. We want to. The best way to find these mobile homes, guys, is just to drive the parks. You know, get out there and drive for dollars. Google mobile home parks in your area. Google mobile home parks in a 100-mile radius, and take the weekend and go drive these parks. If you got to drive them in the evening, drive them in the evening. You've got to do what you got to do to find the time to make this business work. Now, a really, really good guideline are mobile homes that are $30,000 and less that are paid for. And as I get into some of the numbers, because we're actually going to get into some numbers tonight, I'm going to pull the software up, I'm going to teach you guys how to make these offers. You know, I can talk to you about what happens if the mobile home is less than 30 grand, and what happens if the mobile home is more than 30 grand, or there's things we can do, and what are the differences in some of those nuances. And, you know, I had students in New York City tell me, you can't do mobile homes in New York City. And I said, look on the top of your guys' high-rises. In Manhattan, in downtown New York City, guys, they're putting mobile home parks on top of skyscrapers. Individual mobile homes and mobile home parks, not necessarily New York City. I'm just letting you know this strategy works everywhere, with the exception of Hawaii. And Benita, I understand you're coming to Florida to do your mobile home transactions, and we're really excited about that. At least that's one of the states you'll focus on, and the other one's Nevada for you. And this strategy works everywhere in the United States of America. It may not work in downtown Detroit. It may not work in San Diego, in the city limits. And it does work anywhere that you can find mobile home parks. Of course, some states are better than other states. I think we talked about this on a previous call. Your retirement states are the best states for the specific strategy that I'm about to teach you to work. So mobile homes and mobile home parks, how do you find them? For sale by owner. Google mobile homes for sale by owner. Get on Craigslist. And if you'll just drive the parks, and if you drive the bigger mobile home parks, I will assure you, you will find mobile homes in those mobile home parks that are abandoned. And if you're in my consulting program, I teach you how to get those babies for free. I can teach you here, but that's a whole 3-hour webinar. Now, when you drive these mobile home parks and you find a mobile home that's for sale by owner, you've got to have a very, very professional way to ask them all the questions about that mobile home to find out what the potential return on investment for that mobile home would be after analyzing the deal in the software, and be able to look at some numbers, gather information about that mobile home without spending a whole lot of your time. Because why waste time with people that don't want to work with me, with people that don't want to create win-win situations, or why waste your very, very precious time on deals that just don't work? So the information gathering process that I'm about to take you through, the phone process that I'm about to take you through, every one of you should have in the action plan that was emailed to you. And if you don't have the action plan, you can request it at greg@gregorydowning.com. It's 13,000 words. It's 50 pages of things you guys need to be doing every single day. And when I find that mobile home that's for sale by owner, of course, I'm going to call that person and I want to gather the proper information. So I kind of want to take you through this script, guys, piece by piece by piece. I kind of want to break this script down for you. And it starts out with, hi, my name is Gregory. Now, of course, if you're going to use my name, we'll give you guys a stack of my cards. You're going to fill in your information. And I'm a real estate investor and I represent Florida Relations Investment Group, for say. You guys have your business names. When you're making this call, you're not making it as an individual. You're making it as a business. You represent a business. Now, I highly recommend that when you're making this call, you have a form in front of you. On that form, top right-hand corner, you should have the owner's name. Now, I could make this form for you and send it to you guys, and what I want you to do is take the information that I'm giving you, and I don't expect you to say things like I say them word for word. Use what's going to work for you, and you develop your own form. Now, there's parts of this I will tell you don't change at all. And you want to make sure that you're representing a company when you make this call, and there's some reasons why. Now, this is what I call my professional introduction. During the next 24 months, we intend to purchase 10 to 12 million in real estate. I'm calling to find out about your mobile home. What wonderful things can you tell me? Now, I want to stop right here for a second before I go any further. When I initially make this phone call, and it's a mobile home that's for sale by owner that I found in a mobile home park that's $30,000 or less that's paid for, this is the introduction that I'm going to use. And before I go into this entire introduction, I will ask them, hey, I'm calling to get some information about your mobile home. Are you the owner of the mobile home? Guys, this is vital. This is vital. You got to make sure that you're talking to the owner of the mobile home. If the owner is not on the phone, you want the owner on the phone. If the owner is not home, conversation's over. Ask when you could schedule a time that was convenient to call back and talk to the owner. Because what you guys are going to recognize is when I take you through the process tonight, we're going to set up plan A, plan B. We're going to set up our letters of intent. I'm going to show you how to fill them out on this webinar. I'm going to show you how to make these offers, and I'm going to teach you how to set up seller financing, how to get these mobile homes as you've watched on the video that I've taught. And if you don't have that video link, again, Greg@GregoryDowning.com, we'll be happy to send it to you. These are the 3 things that you guys get for just being a part of this webinar series. And in the phone call, I'm going to set up plan A, plan B. I'm going to set up the 2 offer option. And for those of you that haven't heard me teach before, when we make offers on properties, mobile homes, single family homes, duplexes, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, we're going to make 2 offers at the exact same time. It's called option A, it's called option B. And one's going to be a seller financing option where I'm offering to buy the property with seller financing, offering to buy the mobile home with seller financing, and the other offer is going to be an all-cash offer. Guys, this is a master negotiating technique that we've developed. It's a master negotiating technique that in some cases will cause people to take the seller financing option. And what I've learned is when I'm making offers on real estate, when I give somebody 2 options, plan A, plan B, option A, option B, it empowers them to make a decision other than no, because I'm giving them options. So hi, my name is Gregory. I'm a real estate investor. I represent Florida Relations Investment Group. During the next 24 months, we intend to purchase 10 to 12 million in real estate. I'm calling to find out about your mobile home. What wonderful things can you tell me about it? Now, there's a technique here in this call. You must develop rapport. When I say what wonderful things can you tell me about it, depending on the personality style that you're talking to will be the responses that you receive. And, I know several of you that's just enrolled in the consulting program have done your leadership questionnaire. We've assessed your leadership skills. We've provided you with a 26-page report that talks about your personality style and your leadership skills and how to communicate with the different personality styles. So depending on the personality of this person you're talking to will determine how much information that they give you. If they're an analyzer, they might say, well, what do you want to know? If they're the socializer, if they're that person that just likes to talk a lot, they'll tell you everything. And when you say, what wonderful things can you tell me, it's time for you to hush. Close your mouth and let the people tell you whatever they want to tell you. Even if they're telling you things that you don't want to hear or you don't care about, let them talk. Because when people are talking, they feel comfortable. They feel if they're in control. And I want them to feel comfortable. If they want to feel in control, that's fine with me because I'm going to control the process. Now, on your form, you should have a list of questions that you want to ask them, because there are specific things that we must know in order to proceed with the analyst of the mobile home. So even if they're telling you stuff you don't care about, if they say something that's on your questionnaire, you can fill in the blanks. When that person gets done telling you what they wanted to tell you, whether it was a short period of time or a long period of time, you can just simply then say, hey, I've got some more questions that I'd like to ask, and now you can start talking to them. So let me give you some ideas of what you want to know about this mobile home. You're going to want to know the year of the mobile home. You're going to want to know the make and the model of the mobile home. And there's a couple of reasons for that. A lot of people don't realize that an individual mobile home in a mobile home park in most cases is regulated by the Department of Motor Vehicles, and it is a car. It has a book value. It has a vehicle identification plate. It's got a VIN number, just like a car. That VIN number can normally be found in the laundry room, wherever the washer and dryer is at. That VIN plate is usually in that laundry room. Now, if you can get the year, make, and model of the mobile home, you can go to nada.com, put in the year, make, and model of the mobile home to get the mobile home's book value. I don't really worry a whole lot about the book value of the mobile home, especially if I'm interested in getting this mobile home with seller financing or purchasing the mobile home and selling it with seller financing or selling it with a lease option, because in that case I'm only focused on cash flow, and if my property cash flows, if my mobile home cash flows, if I can make the deal work, the money's not as important to me. And I also like to have a guideline of what the actual true book value of that mobile home is, as well as if you're going to flip the mobile home to another investor. If you're going to assign the mobile home to another investor, that investor may ask you the year, make, and model and what the book value is. So it's just important that we gather as much information as we possibly can so that we can come up with the proper strategy to acquire the mobile home and come up with the proper strategy to exit out of the mobile home, the exit strategy to sell it, lease option, seller financing. It might be an assignment of contract, might be a straight flip. So year, make, and model of the mobile home. What size is a lot that the mobile home's on? You want to know the bedrooms, you want to know the bathrooms, you want to know the square footage of the mobile home. As many details as you can get them to list for you, that's what you want. Now, there's a couple of really, really important questions that you want to ask on the call. Is there anything structurally wrong with the mobile home that I should know about? And this is my favorite question that I've learned over the last couple of years to ask, and it's just a really non-obtrusive way to find out the owner's opinion of the condition of the mobile home. And I basically say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being perfect, how would you grade your mobile home? And people will tell you, well, I'll grade the mobile home a 6. Well, if somebody grades their mobile home a 6, I'd say, man, that's awesome. In your opinion, what would it take to make the mobile home a 10? And I found that's just a really wonderful way. People will just open up and tell you everything. And instead of saying, well, is there anything structurally wrong is one thing, and then to say, well, what else is wrong with the mobile home? It's just, you're not developing rapport. We want this to be a really, really comfortable phone call. Now, once you're comfortable that you know the amenities of the mobile home, the size of the lot, you want to ask about the parking area. Depending on certain mobile home parks, there could be parking restrictions. You want to know what kind of parking area that they have. And once you know the details about the mobile home, its amenities, its overall condition, we can move on to the next step of the phone process, which would be to, talk about the price. We're not going to negotiate the price of the mobile home over the phone, and we will discuss the price of the mobile home over the phone. The negotiation process starts when you present Plan A and when you present Plan B. Guys, I'm going to teach you to be master negotiators for these mobile homes without any verbal negotiating skills and zero confrontation. The negotiation process basically is done with paper. It's done with our contracts. It's done with our letters of intent. We don't have to be great verbal negotiators. We need to learn to be great contract negotiators. And if you remember, last week's webinar was all about the elements of a contract, and whoever controls the paper controls the deal. Whoever controls the deal controls the money and the outcome. I just want to be in control of that contract every step of the way, and in a moment I'm going to go into the software and show you guys some things in the software. The majority of all our contracts for all the deals that we do come out of our software. Now, once I know the amenities of that mobile home and the overall condition of that mobile home, I'm comfortable with that part, I do move on to the next step, and the next step I very simply say is, I'd like to verify your asking price. Now, there's a couple of things in this phone call, guys, that it's some little tiny things that's going to make the difference between you guys being average or becoming master investors. Even if I'm looking in the paper, I'm looking on Craigslist, and it tells me that the mobile home's $30,000, I still ask to verify the price. And the reason for that is maybe this mobile home's been for sale for 6 months and they haven't got very many offers on it. They haven't got very many bites on the mobile home. And they decided that morning to lower the price $2,000, and you're looking in the paper, it says 30, and they decided to go to 28. If you didn't ask to verify the price, you'd never know that. So it's just a little tiny golden nugget right there, guys, that over your investment careers could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just depends on how many of these mobile homes you do. So I said, I'd like to verify your asking price. They tell me $30,000. Now, this part's important. Even if I think they're $5,000 overpriced, even if I think they're $10,000 overpriced, I don't argue with them about price right now. That's going to do you absolutely no good. You don't need to create any confrontation on the phone with these people at all. Negotiations, the phone process should never, ever be confrontational. So when somebody says, I'd like to verify the asking price, I want you guys, and they say $30,000, I want you guys to say, sounds pretty good. And then do not deviate from the words that are about to come out of my mouth. Do not deviate from the words that are on the screen. As investors, we like to buy purchase properties one of two ways. We will pay close to full fair market value with seller financing. Or we can pay all cash and close quickly behind fair market value. Now, what I just did here is I set up the entire negotiation process. I set up option A. I set up option B. I just set up seller financing, and they don't even realize that I did. In a moment, you'll see the 2 letters of intent that we send to make our initial offer to start the negotiation process. And one will be a seller financing option. One was going to be an all cash option. They are delivered at the exact same time via email. I'm going to walk you through the entire process. Now, because I said as investors, we like to buy properties one of 2 ways. When they do get those 2 letters of intent from me, they're like, wow, that guy Gregory did say he likes to buy properties one of 2 ways, because they're getting 2 options emailed to them at the exact same time. Now, if somebody said to you, well, what do you mean by close to full fair market value? I'd say, well, I do need to do a little bit more research. I have some more questions to ask you. And if they asked me what behind fair market value was, I said, well, I'm going to need to do a little bit more research on your mobile home. I've got some more questions that I need to ask you. You know, anytime somebody objects or tries to put you on the spot about pricing over the phone, just let them know you need to do a little bit more research. Now, and then get right back on track. I will tell you this really works good in the field, because when you introduce yourselves to people live and you hand them a card and your card says that you pay all cash for properties, somebody might say to you on the golf course, hey man, I got a property for sale. You'd say, great, I'd like to verify your asking price. They tell me $2 million bucks. I say, sounds pretty good. As investors, we like to buy properties one of two ways. We will pay close to full fair market value with seller financing, or we can pay all cash and close quickly behind fair market value. So even if I'm on the golf course face to face with somebody and they've got a property for sale, I've just set up plan A, plan B on the golf course. I set it up on the phone. I've just given you, if this is the only piece of the phone process that you memorize and master where it just flows off of your tongue, guys, you'll create opportunity while you're out there. I want you to master the whole thing. This right here is the setup. Now, when I tell them that I buy properties one of two ways, I'm going to get one of two responses here. Response number one normally is, well, what do you mean by seller financing? As I've shared with a lot of you on the call, and some of you on the call may not clearly understand what seller financing is, if somebody has a mobile home and they sell it to me with seller financing, I'm going to be making my payments directly to them and not to a bank. They actually will have become the bank. If I give a down payment, I give it to them. I make my monthly payments to them. Instead of paying them cash up front, I'm paying them over time. Now, in almost every case, when I say to somebody, when they ask me what seller financing is, and I say to them, well, that means I'm going to make my payments directly to you, not to a bank. You will have become the bank. They have no idea what I'm talking about. And the answer almost every single time over the phone is no. They go, well, you know, I don't know too much about that. I don't think so. And what they thought about is they have absolutely no idea what it is that I'm talking about. And when they have no idea what it is that I'm talking about, the answer is no. That's okay. They're still going to get that plan A option from me, which is going to spell out the terms of seller financing. And in a moment, I'm going to show you the cover letter that will cause them to call me back and ask me questions about seller financing. This is just the setup, guys. Now, when they say they're not interested in the seller financing offer, hopefully they say to me, well, tell me how the all-cash offer works. And if they don't say to me, tell me how the all-cash offer works, I say, hey man, let me tell you how the all-cash offer works. So what I do is I just lead these people down the direction that we need them to go. We have a process. We stay on process. We stay in control of the process. Now, I don't tell them that the all-cash offer is going to be at 70, or that's going to be at 60%, and the seller financing offer is going to be at 70%. I just very simply, we will pay close to full fair market value with seller financing, and we can pay all cash and close quickly behind fair market value. I wait for the response, I get their response, and I move right on to the next section. Now, before I can make you an all cash offer, I've got to ask you some more questions. First, do you have an existing mortgage on the property? Yeah, we want to make sure that we're working with mobile homes that are paid for. And guys, I can get a mobile home that's got a mortgage on it. I can buy it with seller financing and wrap the mortgage. I can put that property into a trust. And I'm telling you, for the first one, that's complicated. It's not complicated for me. It's not complicated for my team. It's just a complicated process to go through for the first time. So I want you focused on the simple deals and ask if there's an existing mortgage on the property. Now, even if there is one, find out what the approximate balance is and keep moving through the process. And we would prefer to have mobile homes that are paid for. If there's a mortgage, what's the approximate balance? How much are your payments? What's the interest rate? These are important questions for me to ask if there is a mortgage, because I could decide to wrap that mortgage and put the property in a trust and take control of it. Again, that's a creative finance strategy. It gets a little bit more complex. You would definitely need me or somebody on my team to walk you through that. And we've done that on multiple occasions. So if I ask them, is there an existing mortgage on the property, and they say no, it's paid for, because a lot of these older mobile homes will be paid for, I can move right on to the next section. And I want you guys to be able to handle whatever comes up on these calls. You know, and before I go to the next section, I do want to cover this because the biggest hurdle I have with any consulting student that I work with is getting them to make the call. People are afraid sometimes to make these phone calls, the investor call, calls to people in pre-foreclosure, calls to mobile homes. And, you know, if you're afraid to make the call, then make the call. Just make it. Get over it. Make the phone call. Make 5 a day. Make 10 a day. The more phone calls you guys make, the more successful you're going to be. And what you need to understand is, yep, you've got a script in front of you. Well, the person you're talking to doesn't know the script. The first time you make this call, you're going to mess it up. Who cares? Make another one, make another one, make another one. You will get better. You will get better. You will get better. You will hone your craft, guys. You'll become a master at this. You master this phone process, I'm telling you, failure is not an option. It's just not possible. Now, if they don't have a mortgage, we can move on to the next step. If they do, these are the questions that you want to ask. I will tell you, on occasion, when I'm asking these personal type questions, somebody's going to say to me, well, that's none of your business, or what do you need to know that for? Now, if somebody says to me, that's none of your business, or what do you need to know that for, I better have a professional answer for them right now, because if I don't have a professional answer for them right now, this phone call is over. So, guess what we've done? We've come up with a professional answer, professional response. And if I want you to remember, when I introduce myself in the beginning of this call, I introduce myself representing Florida Relation Investment Group. I'm an investor. It's not me calling. I represent an organization. I represent a company. And every one of you should be incorporated. If you're not and you need us to help you with that, we can help you with that, guys. Now, as you know, I represent a Florida Real Estate Corporation. They require that I fill out this form. If you'll remember in the beginning of this conversation tonight, I said you should be filling out a form. Top right-hand corner should be the owner's name, the address of the property, the price of the property, the phone number. On your form, you should have that introduction, the exact way you're going to introduce yourself to these people. Then on that form, you should have the list of all the questions that you want to ask. Once those questions are answered, each section of this phone process should be on your form. Now, you're going to master the process. You're going to memorize it. It's just going to flow for you, and you just want it right in front of you so that no matter what happens, you can always stay on track. They require that I fill out this form. Once the form is complete, we can normally make you an offer within 24 hours of this phone conversation. Guys, when I tell them I represent a corporation and they require that I fill out the form and I can normally make you an offer within 24 hours of the conversation, I'm telling you virtually 100% of the time, they're happy to answer these questions now. If they don't want to answer these questions, okay, we'll just move on to the next questions. Again, we don't want to create any confrontation on the phone. No need to. If something's not working, just move on to the next section. Now, so far, we've had a really good phone call with them. We've set up plan A, plan B, which we're going to look at next. We've probably developed some rapport with them over the phone right now, and at any time there can be humor, or you can, find something personal about the people to talk about, not just make it specifically about the script. You can kind of move around a little bit when you see fit. That always works. That always works. And we're not going to negotiate price over the phone. It certainly would be nice to know how flexible somebody's going to be when I do start the negotiation process. It also would be nice to know over the phone what might be the possible lowest price somebody would take for that mobile home. So even though I'm not going to negotiate, I've got a very, very powerful tract right here as a part of the phone process to find out how flexible they're going to be, find out how much I can get them to drop the price over the phone in the span of about 5 seconds. And it goes just like this. You verified the asking price on this mobile home at $30,000. We have the ability to pay all cash and close quickly. What is the very, very least that you'll take? A magical thing happens right now. I don't care if it's a $2 million apartment building or it's a $30,000 mobile home. When you tell somebody you have the ability to pay all cash and close quickly, what's the very, very least that you'll take? This price is going to drop. Guys, remember, everything about this phone process, it's all tied together from the beginning of the process when you told them that you were an investor buying 10 to 12 million in real estate. Every element of this phone process is interconnected. It's all tied together. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of phone calls made here, years and years and years of experience. So I tell them I can pay all cash and close quickly. What's the very, very least that you'll take? That on a mobile home, the price could drop $5,000. So let's say that the seller says, well, if you're going to pay all cash and close quickly, I'll take $25,000. Guys, my simple response is right there on the screen. I'm just going to look at them, or if I'm face-to-face or I'm on the phone, I'm just going to kind of shake my head. Even if I'm on the phone, I'm going through the motions. I kind of shake my head and I just go, It is amazing how well that sound works. The #1 negotiating sound in every language in the world is All right, everybody do it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3. See, I know you guys did it. You're going to be great at this. Guys, I've had people tell me that a house is $200,000, and I just look at them and go, and they go, well, you know what, Gregory, for you, we'd consider 190. And I just look at them again and I go, I've had people say, well, okay, we'll do 185. And I just look at them and go, I keep giving them the price till the sound quits dropping. I keep giving them the sound till the price quits dropping. You'll be amazing at how well this works, and why quit using a technique while it's still working? So back to our example. Let's say I tell them I can pay all cash and close quickly. What's the very, very least that you'll take? They tell me $25,000. I give them the and let's say there's silence on the phone. That means the price isn't going to drop again, so I'm not going to let there be silence for very long. And then I'm going to say, you know, that sounds a little better. You mean if I offered you $15,000 to $18,000 right now, you wouldn't take it? Now, guys and gals, I want you to follow the technique here. I told them I could pay all cash and close quickly. They dropped $5,000 immediately. Then I dropped another $10,000 off of that. You mean if I offered you $15,000? Okay, guys, that's $20,000. I mean, that's $15,000 off the original asking price in the span of 5 seconds. You mean if I offered you $15,000 to $18,000 right now, you wouldn't take it? Guys, it almost draws them into saying yes at the $18,000 before I go all the way back to the $15,000. It doesn't work every single time. This phone call doesn't work every single time. Every offer I make doesn't work every single time. And how many times do I need this to work on mobile homes? 3 times a month. Within the next 90 days, everybody on this call should be doing no less than 3 mobile homes a month. And if you're not doing 3 mobile homes a month, we're doing something wrong. Now, I'm going to get one of 3 responses right now. You mean if I offered you $15,000 to $18,000 right now, you wouldn't take it? Response number 1 is, look, $25,000, that's it. Not a dime less. Doesn't sound like they're going to be very flexible. Now, we won't know till we present option A, option B. So response number 2 is, well, you know, we could talk about that. Maybe I need to talk to my spouse about that. I've even had people say to me, well, do you think you could put something in writing? And I just chuckle and think to myself, yeah, the second this call's over, I'm hitting the send button. You're getting something in writing for me. The way that we've designed the process, guys, the way we've designed plan A, plan B, the way that we've designed this phone call is the safest way for you guys to get out there and create opportunity. And when that opportunity comes, now you've got time to analyze and make a decision of whether it's the right deal for you to do and exactly how do we need to execute the deal. Now, if the person says, $18,000, I'll take it. Number 1, don't get real excited and don't get scared because it means nothing right now. All we're doing is we're making a phone call. We're gathering information. This is the beginning of the case study to the mobile home. I'm really just looking for their response. So the response is either going to be no, $25,000, that's it, I'll think about it, or 18 grand, I'll take it. Guys, my response is exactly the same in all three cases. I just let them know, man, I really appreciate your time on the call. I need to do a little bit more research on your property. I'd like your email address. Be prepared to see a couple of different options from us in the next 24 hours. Now, what are those options going to be? Plan A, Plan B. I just set Plan A, Plan B up at the end of the call. I set it up in the middle of the call. I set it up again at the end of the call. Now, the last question that I ask on this phone call, I mean, it should cause every one of you in the room to chuckle. It should cause every one of you to go cha-ching. It really should get every one of you to think that you need to be making 5 of these phone calls every day of your life, 5 days a week. It's a 4-minute phone call. And anytime I work with a student and they're struggling or they're not where they want to be and they want to blame the business not working on somebody else, or they tried this or they tried that or they tried that, I stop them in their tracks. And I'm going to ask them, I'll be a little direct with you guys right now. Are you making 5 phone calls a day that are for sale by owners? Are you calling mobile homes that are for sale by owner? Are you calling your investor database? Are you building the investor database? Because unless you're making 5 phone calls a day to for sale by owner, and unless you're making 5 phone calls a day to investors, you're just not working the business. You don't want it enough. So the last question I ask is, am I safe to assume that once you sell this mobile home, you'd be buying another mobile or maybe a house? Now, if the answer to that question is yes, guys, I'm going to immediately respond to them. Look, I'm an investor. I'm an expert at finding properties at a discount. That's exactly what I do. Tell me what neighborhood you're looking for. Tell me what neighborhood you're interested. What are the price range? What are the parameters? What can I do to help you? And most of the time, they're moving somewhere else. They're moving. If they're moving out of a mobile home, maybe they're going to an apartment. Maybe they're going to a house. I don't know. And if you find out that they're buying something else, they ought to be buying it from you. They ought to be buying it from somebody on your power team. They ought to be buying it from one of the 30,000 other master investors within the REI system. That resource, guys, that you get to reach out to is so very valuable. Now, you know, if I'm making this phone call on a single family home, it works so well to find out what people are buying. Even on mobile homes, let's find out what they're buying. Let's build our buyer's database, and when I know what people are buying, I go find it to them, and I assign it to them. I sell it to them with a lease option. I sell it to them with seller financing. I know you guys can probably hear it in my voice. I get a little jazzed up right now because this is the biggest hump I got to get my students over, is making the calls, and when they start making the calls, they got more opportunities than they know what to do with. Having more opportunities than you know what to do with, guys, is better than having no opportunities at all. So we've gathered great information on this phone call. We've gathered what we need to know to go put the numbers into the software and find out if option A, option B is even going to work for us. So let's talk about plan A, plan B. Let's talk about option A, option B. Now, on a mobile home, if you're not embarrassed by the offer that you make on these mobile homes, you've offered too much. I will tell you that as the market shifts and adjusts, so do we. You know, it's so valuable to be able to work with so many of you on a one-on-one basis and hear the feedback, hear the hurdles that you're hitting, the obstacles that you're running into. And, you know, to be connected with 30,000 other investors throughout the United States of America, you know, allows me to keep my pulse on what's going out there in the marketplace. And the mobile home strategy it's caught on. There's people out there that are doing mobile homes. I got a whole bunch of students that are doing mobile homes. So I used to offer 50% of the mobile home's value with seller financing. Well, we've made a little bit of an adjustment to that. The plan A option is going to go over at 70% of the asking price on the mobile home. Asking for seller financing. We're going to clearly outline the terms of what we want to buy the property for with seller financing. And I'm going to show you those terms in a minute, exactly how this works, exactly how to fill out the plan A option. Now, you got to be careful here. If you're going to give a plan B option at 60% of asking price, stating that you can pay all cash. Okay, let's review. 70% of asking price with seller financing, 60% of asking price stating that I can pay all cash and close quickly. So one option is at 70% asking for seller financing, that's plan A. One option is at 60% of asking price. That's plan B. That 60% offer is going to be an all-cash offer. Here's where you got to be careful on mobile homes. Because if this is a $30,000 mobile home and I'm going to offer $21,000 for that mobile home with seller financing, and then I'm going to make another offer at 60% of that mobile home's value, which is $18,000, stating that I can pay all cash and close quickly. You better be prepared to pay all cash and close quickly. You better have a money resource out there because they just might take that 60% offer. So if it is your intention to solely get these mobile homes with seller financing, don't make the Plan B offer. If you are a student that has the ability to pay cash for these mobile homes, put it on a credit card. Whatever you do, the 0% interest at 100 grand. You know, I've got Juan in Denver who, with his seed capital money, has a considerable amount of money sitting there ready to invest. Now, that's not using his money, guys. That's using other people's money. That's using the credit card company's money. I just want you to know, if you're going to make a seller financing offer and you're going to make an all-cash offer, some people are going to take the all-cash offer. On a 1995 mobile home, sitting in a mobile home park, you're not going to be able to go to the bank and get a loan. So you got to be really, really smart about how you make these offers, and it will be dependent on where you're at in life right now financially. If you've got the resources, you've got the stacks of cash, you can make that all cash offer. If we're solely going at this property from the standpoint of getting it with seller financing because we don't have a lot of money, we don't have the good credit, then don't make the Plan B option. I'm certain that makes sense to you, and again, if there's questions, we'll cover those questions at the end of the webinar. And you are always welcome to send me any questions you want to at greg@gregorydowning.com. I've had so many consultations with students and pointers that I'm giving them. I just want to keep you guys pointed in the right direction. Now, I'm going to make the Plan A, Plan B option. Our goal here is to get this mobile home with seller financing. So remember, when we make these offers, we do make them via email. I'm going to send them an email. So when I send them an email, this is the cover letter that they read. This cover letter alone, guys, has made my students millions of dollars. This cover letter alone is absolutely brilliant. It increases our chances of getting these properties by 75% with seller financing. I'm not saying 75% of all the deals you do will be with seller financing. It just increases our chances. Guys, I like those odds because check this out. If I make an offer at $21,000, and let me just real quickly, guys, pull up the software. Those of you that have the RES software, you've got this capability. So if I make an offer for $21,000 on a 10-year note at 12% interest, my payment to that person is going to be $301 a month for 10 years. Now, if I go down here to the very bottom where you see total paid, that's a total payout over a 10-year period of time of $36,154.57, and the total interest that person is going to receive is $15,154.57. Now, when you present this to them, one of the things you can ask them is, do you have a retirement account? And are you getting a 12% return on investment in your retirement account? Or do you have money in the stock market? Are you getting a 12% return on your investment in the stock market? And I guarantee you what the answer to that's going to be. So what we're about to do is we're about to educate the person on why they should sell us this mobile home with seller financing. So I put in $21,000 into my software. I put in a 10-year note, interest rate of 12%. That would give us a payment to them of $301.29. Of course, when I sell this with seller financing, when I sell it with the lease option, my payment's going to be more than the $301. That would be our cash flow. And it is our goal when we do these mobile homes that we want to make no less than $300 a month in cash flow. We would like to make $400 and $500 a month in cash flow. So let's get back to our example. I would just want you to know the example I'm giving you are based on real numbers. This is exactly how I would be presenting this offer if I was doing it from my living room. By the way, I am in the living room. Now, I love that. Get to work with you guys right here from my living room. So when I make the Plan A option which I'm going to cover in detail in a moment, and I make the Plan B option, those options go over as a letter of intent. They go over via email. Guys, a letter of intent is not an obligation to purchase. Now, every one of you should have received these letters of intent in an email with a free download. Guys, I'm just trying to give you as much as I possibly can for you to be successful. Now, so I send them the email, which is that, and it says, Dear Mr. Smith, the enclosed offer to purchase your property represents a total wealth accumulation of $36,154.57. The total interest to be paid to you is $15,154.57. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Now, attached to this email will be Plan A, Plan B, which they must download. Again, I want to be very clear of how I came up with the $36,154.57, and I came up with the $15,154.57. Asking price was $30,000. Plan A goes over at 70%, asking for seller financing, which is $21,000. If I go back out to the software, I pull up the mortgage calculator, $21,000 paid to them on a 10-year note at 12% interest as a payment of $301.29. The 10-year payout is $38,154.57, and the total interest is $15,154.57. Guys, I've designed this process to be so simple that your teenage kids can do it. Right. And I don't want to sound trivial about that, because I know for those of you that haven't been through the process, it seems complicated. I get that. Let me walk you through it step by step, hand in hand. Let me do it with you together, and it's not complicated. So we're going to go right back to our example. Bam, that's how I got the numbers. So $36,154.47 is a 10-year payout. $15,154.57 is the amount of interest that they will receive over that 10 years. Guys, we are making this a win-win for everybody involved. You know, they were asking $30,000 for their mobile home, but now I'm going to pay them $6,154.47 more than they were asking for. Yeah, they've got to do that over time. And does this work every single time? No. And again, guys, I don't need it to work every single time. How many times do I need this to work a month? 3 times a month. You should be doing, in 90 days, you should be doing no less than 3 of these a month. Now, let's go into the Plan A, Plan B option so that you can actually see the flow of how this is presented. So with the Plan A option, guys, this is not an obligation to purchase. This is just a serious step in negotiation to see if somebody's close to where I want to be at on price. Without me spending a whole lot of time. Now, if somebody bites on one of these options, now it's worth my time to spend on the deal. And just notice right here where it says insert purchase price. I'm going to insert $21,000. I'm going to insert the rate I believe we had in there was 12%. I'm going to insert a term of 10 years, and I'm going to put the payment in there, I believe, which was $301. So these numbers right here are reflective of the numbers that we put right here, which came from the software. Well, we're not doing a discount note yet. So I just have everything right here, all at my fingertips to fill all out of this information. And once the letters of intent are filled out, I just hit the send button, guys. The more times you hit the send button, the more money that you're going to make. So I just want to make sure everybody understands when I'm making this seller financing option, and guys, it looks like I'm going to go past a little past 8 o'clock tonight, and I see 47 of you with me. I hope you guys can stick with me because I got about 10 more minutes to go here. I'm just trying to give you everything I can. Purchase price, $21,000, rate 12%, term, 10 years, payment, $301. I just want you to know when I'm making this seller financing option that I'm not just trying to disguise it. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm being very clear about what I'm doing. And what I want to have happen is when somebody sees that number of $36,000 and they see the total interest of $15,000, I want that person going, wow, what do these numbers mean? I need to give this guy a call. I got to figure out what's going on here. Now I've got an opportunity to explain to them why they should sell me this property with seller financing. You guys are going to be amazed at how well this works. So there's the Plan A option, very, very simple. You fill in the blanks, you hit send. At the exact same time, we're going to send them the Plan B option, which would be insert the purchase price. In this case, I believe the number was 60%, $18,000, and it just states that I'm paying all cash and closing quickly. Now, if you've got a private investor and that money comes from them, that's fine. If it's coming from one of your credit cards, that's fine. If it's coming from your savings, that's fine. If it's coming from your retirement account, that's fine. I will know I've had several, want you to know I've had several consultations with a lot of you that have large IRAs. Guys, I can teach you to convert those to LLCs with checkbook control. They're still a retirement account. You can invest in real estate tax-free. If you want more information on that, guys, I'll teach you. I'll let you know how to set up a consultation with me at the end. Now, when I make these letters of intent, guys, I give them an expiration date. I want there to be a sense of urgency, and I know that we talked about that during the elements of a contract. So, Plan A, Plan B is emailed to them in the form of attachment, and that's the cover letter that they receive. This is going to get them to call us. Now, when somebody bites on Plan A or somebody bites on Plan B, we then go inspect the property. When we get there, we inspect the property. We like what we see. We now want to get the property under contract. I use the RESS software. I use the contract for purchase and sale. I put the clause on that contract, the addendum, subject to partner's approval with a 14-day inspection period. So guys, check it out. I've got the property under contract with seller financing. I've got a database of motivated buyers, which you guys should be building right now. And if you're not, shame on you. That was our very first webinar. If you don't have that, you can go to my blog and you can get that recording. I've got somebody in my database that wants to do a seller financing option on this mobile home. I have 14 days to inspect it. I got 14 days to take the person from my database, show them the mobile home, see if they like the mobile home. I sell it to them with seller financing. I go to the title company and I do a double close. You didn't use any of your money, guys. You didn't use any of your credit. Now, what are some of the extra strategies that we could apply here? I can get that mobile home with seller financing. I can turn around, I can rent that mobile home out. I get that mobile home with seller financing, I can turn around and sell it with a 13-month lease option, a 24-month lease option, a 36-month lease option, a 48-month lease option. That's up to you. What I would prefer that you do is when you sell this mobile home, you sell it with seller financing. Just be the bank. Just be the bank. And guys, in this example right here, I just real quick, so my payment to the original seller is $301.29. I would sell this mobile home on a 10-year note for $801.29 at 0% interest. I don't want interest. I want $801.29 a month. That means I get $500 a month in cash flow for 10 years. Guys, go do that 10 times. 10 times 500 is $5,000 a month. Well, then, if you could do it 10 times, then maybe you could go do it 20 times. That's $10,000 a month. Well, then you could do it 40 times. Now you're up to $20,000 a month. Guys, this simple strategy right here, when focused on, can give you guys the freedom to move on to the bigger and better deals. So I could do a whole another hour or 2 hours on how I would set up the seller financing contract. And those things, guys, will be done on other webinar series. So I know I'm past my 8 o'clock mark. And Mom, do we have some questions that we might be able to answer very quickly?
Sure we do. And I think it's great that we're where we are, because if we pick up from here, recap it on the next webinar, and then go to the more how you wrap it all up together, that'll be